Welcome to Nice Big Wrench. Today I'm looking at my Aprilia Pegaso 2007 second generation bike. The indicator stalk didn't have a firm click to it, so it'd go left or right and centre, but you had to kind of jiggle your thumb into exactly the right place to get it there. And I wanted to get it sorted before I took it for an MOT. So this is the left hand switch cluster. There's two screws that go in the bottom there and there that clamp the top to the bottom half, and then you can pull it off of the handlebar, and then you can prise it open. It simply just pulls the top and the bottom half pull apart, and then there's two screws, and you can see where those two white lobes are there and there. You take those two little screws out, and then you can get the indicator stalk out here. So the indicator stalk, and mine's got a little the tab's broken there. There's two little tabs. See, there's a little slot there and there that hold this bottom plate onto the top, onto the housing. Bear in mind, as you look at it, this is upside down now. So mine is like this. So if I take that little plate off, obviously if you take yours off, you're going to need to prise it off with the little slots. Mine's got a broken one, so it just kind of falls out. And then we have, very carefully, that's the indicator stalk, and you can see the shiny bit, that's the little ball bearing that clicks in place. When I took this apart the first time, that ball bearing was on top of the white piece, and so that's obviously why it wasn't clicking into place firmly. But that's turning right, that's turning left, and then that is the centering. In order to take this apart, that white piece kind of clicks in place. You have to do this very carefully, because if you lose, put it this way, you can't buy this part. You have to buy the entire surround for the left-hand switchgear. So trying to find that ball bearing in the right size and the spring in the right size would be an absolute pain in the backside. So you kind of prise it up gently, but you have to pull out and release the tension on the seat. With my left hand, I'm releasing the tension on the spring, and I'm just going to let the ball bearing fall into the housing there, and you can see that's the end of the spring there. And I'm just going to set that aside, and then you just the white part just pulls up, and then I've got the little ball bearing in there, which I'm very carefully just going to pull out. There we go. So then you can see that's the just going to put that safe. So that's the inside. That's the contacts on the inside of the indicator. Left, right, centered, and obviously that's the main positive in is the fourth pin. I'd imagine the third pin is there to generate signal for the sensor of the ECU to know that the indicator is not on at the time. I'd imagine. It might have something to do with the hazard lights. Anyway, that's what it looks like. While you've got this apart, obviously it's a very good idea to give that a clean with some electrical cleaner in there and a bit of rag. And then I'm going to show you how to reassemble this. And I'm hopefully going to do it. And the curse of doing it on camera won't cause me to drop it all. Bear with me while I prepare my ingredients. Alright, so I'm just going to put the white part down there for a second. So I'm taking the ball bearing, I'm going to rest it on the top. As you can see, in this black part in my left hand, there's two little slots either side of the ball, which is where this slot, the white part, slots in. So get this the right way round. It's going to go in that direction, and the tabs on the white part face downwards as you're looking at it. So what I'm going to do is marry those two up and press them together. can see it's announced intention, the ball bearing won't fall out. And I can actually hold it like that, very carefully. And then I'm gonna carefully kind of doing this around the camera, which makes it a bit trickier. So the white part goes in first, and then it's pressing up against the side, and then just slide the whole lot in, all in one go. You hear that little click? That's it clicking into place. You can then release the tension on the arm, and then it's held in place. Okay. Give it a little test fit, a little test wiggle. Now I'm gonna, and you put the plate back on. Now I'm going to glue mine in a minute, because obviously it's not held together. But then this goes down. Sorry, my hand's in the way. This goes down in the housing that way around, and then the two little screws go in, and then there's this little arm that sits over the top of the cables to hold the cables in when you put it all back together again. Yeah, bear with me a second. I'm just going to glue this, and then I'll put it all back on the bike. Okay, so I've glued the part on that I needed to do, and now you can see if I've put the unit back in. I'm holding it in place just because the springs aren't holding it in, and then you've got a little screw there that goes in, and then a little one that goes in that top hole there as well. I just drop these in. Try not to over tighten these, because you'll strip the threads in the plastic. And there's usually a zip tie across here that holds the cable, that main cable to the housing, but I removed it because I wanted to have a bit more room to move the cables around. And then what you do is you have this part that sits on top of there like that, and then we reassemble it back onto the handlebar. Right, to put it back onto the handlebar, this top half, if you rotate it round, so you've got room to manoeuvre, slide the bottom half home, and then the top half rotates round, clips on the top. There is a little pin, can you see that? On the top half, that sits in that hole in the handlebar there. So that's how you know that you've got it lined up. So if the pin's not in, the two halves won't meet together. It's not until you rotate it round and it clicks into place, and then you know you've got it in the right place. So then two screws like this, one goes underneath the back. It's just, the hole for this is just under the picture of the indicator arrows. And then the other one goes up under here. And make sure that you have everything lined up as you tighten these. And there we have it. Now everything should work beautifully smoothly. If we then test this, just assuming I've got enough power in the battery. Yep, that's much better. It's not as smooth as it would be. There's not a defined click to it, but I think I'm going to put that down to just wear and tear. But yeah, everything works as it should. Another successful job. Hopefully that will help you if your indicators go a little bit funky, or you need to strip it down and clean it. Perhaps it's always a good idea to do that every so often. But yeah, hopefully that's useful to you, and I'll catch you next time.